find out the whole heat loss of the house. So you make the houses really hot, heat them to sort of 25 degrees, and most of the time it's got a nice difference between internal and external temperature, and then you measure how much electricity you used in order to keep a constant temperature of 25 degrees, and then you sort of work on the theory that whatever heat you put in was the heat that came out. You know how leaky they were. I'm interested in the walls. I'm like the rest of the building, yeah. So it's not my research. So I focus also on doing heat flux measurements. So that meant that put heat flux plates on the external walls with before and after insulation, temperature sensor on each side. You can measure exactly how much heat is flowing through that particular element. That's really interesting. There's been lots of work done here at UCL as well on this sort of on these sorts of measurements. So you have a bit of an idea about how the houses function in like this sort of way. Then how do they actually function if people were living there, sort of on a longer term? So we do a bit of monitoring. Then, like, what do I want to monitor? So I monitor sort of 3 weeks at a time, a few different tests through both winter and summer. And to know what I want to monitor, I refer back to my aim. So I knew I wanted to think about energy demand. So I measured gas and electricity consumption. I knew that I wanted to know how thermally comfortable the house would be in winter. So I looked at thermal comfort variables. And then I also wanted to know if the house would overheat in the summer. So then I looked at air temperatures and surface temperatures and black load temperatures. But I had a little bit of a problem that I didn't actually have any people in my houses. So these are my special Barrel people I'd like to introduce you to. Mr. and Mrs. Barrel. They make my houses nice and warm because so I have no people, which means there's no one being hot, so you are hot, you give out heat, and the bit of heat that you give out means you have to use your heating system that little bit less. Or in the summer it overheats your house a little bit more. But also you cook and you watch television and you turn on your lights and do all these sort of different things that need to be synthesised in the houses. So they were all synthesised on a complicated system of a home hub with hundreds of light bulbs across the house being turned on and off at different times of the day, in the bathrooms, the kitchens, and everywhere, and heaters and all sorts of things, so you can sort of get a more realistic view of what a real house would be like, but with the very wonderful factor that there's no weird, confusing people doing things you don't understand, because I tell my people what to do, they listen. It's so good. So, these are just some of my equipment. So, over there on the left to you, are my thermal comfort stations. So it's got black load, it's got humidity sensor, it's got 3 temperature sensors at different heights. In the background you can see a temperature sensor. I had 4 thermal comfort stations, so 2 in each house. I had a temperature sensor in every centre of every room. I also had surface temperatures in 2 rooms in each house on every surface. This is the electricity being monitored, and this is these are the data takers. So data takers are data loggers. So all of my equipment was wired because it's a test house. You can do anything you like in there. So you just wire everything because it's just a much safer and more reliable way of collecting data. I mean, wireless signals sometimes don't always function quite the way you think they're going to function, whereas it's just a bit safer with wires. So there's wire training everywhere. This was what it was. So just a little bit of a talk about not really issues, just a bit of a talk about what it's like to measure things. You have a really limited budget, or I have a really limited budget, I'm sure most people do. And the sort of equipment that I have been buying is really, really expensive. Thermal comfort stations, top of the range ones, are £15,000 to £20,000. I mean, that's like more than my entire budget. So what do? You need to be able to try and make the best equipment that you possibly can from the money that you've got available. So that's what I did. I managed to build 4 thermal comfort stations from equipment that I could find in my department already, that was around, that people were no longer using, buying bits and pieces to try and supplement that. And you also want it to be to the greatest quality that you can have. You want really good, accurate equipment so that you get the best data you can possibly have. And then time. All of this is really time consuming. It's actually much quicker to just go and buy a thermal comfort station. it's much more time consuming to research exactly the accuracy of every single sensor that you want, go and buy it separately, make sure it all works together, get it to all function together in a data logging system. It's time consuming to source everything, to discuss with suppliers, to do all these sort of things. It's also very important for time, the way that getting everything installed was also very time consuming. So you had to wait for the houses. We didn't already have the houses, they had to be got to the right stage so I could start my tests. It takes time. Another very time consuming thing is calibration. So going back to wanting the best quality data, you need the best quality equipment. And to do that, you need to make sure that everything's so well calibrated. And it was an enormously time consuming process, calibrating each one of my sensors. I mean, I've got hundreds and hundreds of sensors. And then lastly, like planning, the amount of planning that goes into, like I said, sourcing everything, making sure that everything's going to happen at the right time, and then planning out the tests was incredibly important because I wanted to know things both in summer and winter. And in order to plan this, it was difficult only because if I missed winter, winter was gone. I can't go back to a model and go and rerun something. If I missed a cold spell, if I missed a hot spell, it never happened because I didn't record the data. So it makes everything really pressured. You have to plan so carefully to make sure that you always collect the data when you need to. And then just one last slide, just to show you all the things that go wrong when you measure things in real test houses. So things break. I mean, some people just won't accept that things break. Things just break because things just run out of their useful life. Light bulbs break all the time. Some of the home hubs stop working. Drag the motor off the wall. I mean, so I had builders come into the houses. They just chopped through my wires. They weren't touched. They didn't care. They didn't care about my experiments. They grabbed some insulation off the wall and cut through all my wires. And I was like, great, there's all that data gone. Fuses go. The fuse board trip. The boiler stopped working. I mean, concepts go to these houses to go and find out things that are happening. It's different from a lab setting. Also, it's just very difficult. Lots of things can go wrong. So yeah, just a little look at the reality of measuring in houses. Thank you very much.
So I'm happy to take some questions for Vicki. If we've got time at the end, we'll ask all three speakers to sit in front of us as well. Has anyone got any questions in Vicki's presentation? Thanks for the clarification also.
Quick question. Did you install insulation to all walls of the house or one single wall?
All wall, yeah. So all external walls in one house. So it's a semi-detached house, so 3 walls.
And the one thing that I thought it might be an issue is that one house getting shading, the other is not.
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, it's a real problem. You sort of find out that there's no such. So the idea was to have a matched pair of houses. There's no such thing in the world as a matched pair of houses. It doesn't exist. It's incredible. Even if you try to build 2 the same, you still find it hard because it's just difficult. So yeah, one has a wall that is north-east facing, and the other has a wall that is south-west facing, and that's a real problem. So not only do they get different shading, but one gets a lot more sun than the other one. So part of the reason that I did monitoring where you had both uninsulated houses side by side, so you could look at the data and try and see what the effect of one house having a different orientation to the other is. So you can sort of try and pick apart in the data what is because one is southwest, one has a big southwest facing wall, and what is the effect of having internal insulation. And it's really difficult to pick apart. Yeah.
Sir, do you have a question?
Yeah, I was going to ask, I mean, in real life, well, the experiment was in real life, and generally speaking, you've got things like dampness and some faults in the building pre-existing. Do you think there's something that could be implemented in the experiment, or is it an outlier?
Yeah, so I mean, in terms of like dampness in particular, because that's a large concern for internally insulated dwellings. I mean, my answer is a bit different. I only have so much time in my PhD is basically the issue. That when we were creating the project, we thought, wouldn't it be great to look at overheating and damp and all those things, but especially dampness in particular would have been great to look at, but it moves so slowly that we had the test houses for 2 years, and 2 years we wouldn't see anything, which is a shame. So yeah, we sort of don't always have time for those sorts of things. We sort of characterise the houses at the start as well. I used an IR camera also to have a look around the houses to look for if there were any particular holes or if there were any damp patches and things like that. So I got a bit of a feel for pre-existing conditions of the house. That answer what you yeah.
Thank you.
Any more questions? All right.